Another day, another problem to solve. So started learning Django slightly over 2 weeks ago, and so far I've created a nice little to-do list, a chores app for my wife and I to keep track of, sweeping the house and that type of thing. So as I was sitting there and as I was playing with Django and as I was creating the chores app, one of the things I was thinking about is that I really need a much better way to take notes. Kind of ironically, I don't know if ironic is the right word, but curiously enough, essentially as I've been learning Django, I realized that for myself, I don't have a good optimized way of taking notes in the modern world. And so guess what I decided to do? Build my own note-taking app. So I'm talking about this with you guys today because one of the biggest issues for most people trying to get into the technology industry is I tell them to solve problems and then they look at me like I'm a moron because they have no idea what that means. What do you mean solve a problem? Well, this is what I mean. Creating a chores app is what I mean. Look around and see the problems that you actually have and then build a solution for that particular problem, right? So this is my little note-taking app. Literally, I've spent 2 hours on this, so don't be too harsh. But, I've been thinking about it, and my question is, what do I need out of a note-taking app? I need a better way to bookmark the websites that give me information, right? So now, if I go and I have my little reading list or whatever in Safari, that kind of sort of works, but I don't really have a way to make any notes for these different websites. I don't really have a way to tag these websites. It's like I can save the website, but then it just turns into this mess, right? So that's a problem. So I was like, okay, so give me a way to be able to easily store the URLs. And now with the URLs, many times I only need a very small amount of information. So like this is capitalize each word in a string with Python. Really what I just need is those couple of lines. So give me a memo place where I can put those couple of lines. And then beyond that, one of the things I think would be interesting is essentially create a tag cloud. So have it so you can add tags to your notes, and then you can auto create a tag cloud. So if you're looking for certain things like, let me find more information on text transformation or something like that. Imagine if I could simply click on this and all of the notes with text transformation would pop up for me, right? That would be kind of cool. I can go here and I can create a new note and I put in the note title and I put in the URL and I put in the memo and I put in the tags and then I can hit submit. And then from here, I can create a search value. I can create a search field to search for things, because that's one of the big issues that I'm running into, like with Django is, I'm in my 40s. My brain isn't as good as it used to be. So it's like I find a solution for something, and then by the next day I forget it. And it's like, fuck, I knew how to answer that problem. Right? So if I have this, I can just jot it down, and now this isn't like a permanent memory bank for me. The other thing I kind of think is interesting, this is where you get into trouble, like startup world, is you start thinking, okay, so this solves my problems, right? So this gives me a tool I can add to and I can modify and I can create, and that solves my problems. The interesting thing though, as you'll see, there's a little username here already, is Django already has a user account system built in. So what if you put this actually up on the web itself, and then other people can use this as their note-taking tool? And then what if you can do searches based not just off of the notes that you've created, but the notes that other people have created? And what if you could, one of the things I've been really thinking about with the social media world is taxonomy. If you really want to know the problem for the 2020s, it's not bitrate switching or whatever else. It's taxonomy, customizable taxonomy. What if these notes are public? And then what if I could follow one person's individualized tags? So let's say I know somebody else out there that's playing with Python or Django or whatever else. They're a lot like me, so I'm kind of curious the things that they're learning. What if I could follow not them, nor, have to follow simply the tag Django. What if I could follow everything tagged as Django by this particular user, right? If this user puts up PHP, I don't care about PHP. PHP is old, right? They put up something about Rust. I don't care about Rust because Rust is for the hipsters. But they put up something about Django that I care about, right? This person I care about, and this person's commentary or whatever on this very specific subject is what I care about. So what if I could just follow that, right? And so I'm kind of thinking, and then like, how could you extend this out? Could I actually extend this out to be a platform for the Eli, the computer guy, educational content? Like, could I just do not just notes here, so I create these notes, but then we could have notes and classes. Like, instead of starting with classes and then going to notes, what if we could start with a notes platform and then add classes to the notes platform? So anyways, these are the things that I'm pondering. But this is actually what I'm building, and this will actually go into usage because it is a real problem that I actually have as I'm going along, especially for somebody like me who researches a lot of different topics. Again, one of the big problems you run into is like, today I'm dealing with Django. So today I'm dealing with Django. Next week or whatever, I'll be dealing with OpenCV. The week after that, I'll be dealing with something else. And one of the problems I have is as I hop through all these things, again, you just forget. You forget functions. You forget basic crap. So I just have this one place. It's just like this store of knowledge so that I can go back. And I'm not going to the entire web, right? I'm not using Google. I'm not using Bing. It's not the flood of the web. I just need fast recall over something that I have already previously learned. So that's what I'm doing here. And the other thing that's valuable about doing this kind of thing is then again, you get to learn about things like user experience. You get to learn about building the user interface and all that kind of thing. Like what does work, what doesn't work. Like formatting, right? So Eli at January 13th. Like it's things like timestamps, right? So as I've sat here and looked at this, so it's me at this date. So this is the date that this note was added. Here's an interesting question though. Is that date actually valuable? When you think about date, when you think about time, is this what's actually valuable? Maybe what's more valuable is knowing how long ago I created this note. Again, from a human's indexing of information, again, if I just sit here and look and say January 13th, I don't know what that means. But if I can very easily see, oh, this is the note that I created 2 days ago. Okay, I know on Tuesday I was researching this particular topic and I found a solution. Oh, okay, this is from that Tuesday. Let me click on that. Right? That's the kind of thing like, I know I didn't come up with this. I didn't make this note like 2 years ago. So if it says 2 years, that's not right. I know I was looking at this problem like a month ago. And simply by not just a timestamp, but also saying like how long ago this particular note was created, that might be a useful thing. And so that's what you do. You create, you build. And the other thing to realize is, with programming, it's just like with technology. One of the things I used to tell folks in the IT world when they said, Eli, how do I get experience fixing computers? One of the things I told people is to fix their grandmother's computer. Fix their computer, fix their grandmother's computer, fix their church group's computer, fix your mom's, their dad's computer, right? Because here's the thing, a Windows computer is a Windows computer, right? A Windows home version versus a Windows professional version is slightly different with the whole domain thing and all that. But more or less, same, still got a registry, still got the basic stuff. So if you learn how to fix your grandmother's computer, you're de facto learning how to fix a CEO's computer. Again, swapping a CEO's RAM is exactly like swapping a grandma's RAM. That sounds kind of weird. But the same thing is true like in the coding world, right? When you sit here and you build this, right, the functions are the same. The models are the same. The URLs file is the same. The views file is the same. You may have to work on your syntax, right? If you sit here and you look at my crappy syntax, right? The syntax that your company wants you to use may be different. You may have to clean up your syntax or whatever else. But the functions or the classes or whatever else, if you learn how to build this, then you're learning how to build apps. And again, that's the big thing, is getting experience. Today I had a big problem. I had a big problem with my form. So when I created my form and then I submitted the information, I had this really weird issue. And literally what it came from was how I dealt with the response. Where was it? Here. So when I create the new note, I have to render it without context. There is a different way. There's a different way to get to the new note HTML template that I put in there. It made sense. Like it was like redirect, like response or something. Anyways, it was like, return HTTP redirect to the new note, or note new HTML. The weird thing is whenever I then hit submit, so I got to the form fine, but then when I hit submit from the form, it failed out. It gave me a CRFS error. Couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I did all this research on CRFS, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, came back and figured out this is the proper, this is the proper line of code to create a form so that you can actually send data to the database without getting that CRFS error, right? And you're gonna get this error whether you're creating an app for your grandma or if you're trying to create the app in the professional world. And so just sitting here and building gives you experience. And again, that's the whole thing, like with us standardizing on Python and us probably standardizing on Django for web applications. This is one of the things I want with Silicon Dojo, is I want our students to come in and build and build and build and build and build and build and build. And at a certain point, they won't realize how much they actually know simply by doing this crap day in, day out, even if they're not doing it for a paycheck originally. So anyways, there you go. Yay! Crappy app number 2. Crappy app number 2. This one might actually be finding its way to the web, because I'm kind of curious about this. It's kind of like, they talk about like with social media companies or whatever, the whole thing is like solving the problems that you have. So Mark Zuckerberg was trying to figure out how to get laid. Right, Mark Zuckerberg's trying to figure out how to get laid. Jack Dorsey's trying to figure out where the cool parties are. I'm trying to figure out how to take better notes. But it's kind of an interesting idea for like social media. What if the central premise of your social media was note taking? Not who's hot or not this other stuff. What if the central conceit is, what if you focused a social media site on simply people trying to jot down the notes they need to solve problems? Right? I think that would be kind of interesting. And again, that's the other thing to be thinking about in the modern world of technology, is people forget the business angle. Like when you look at Facebook or you look at LinkedIn, you look at Snapchat, right? They forget the business angle. They're all using the same technology, basically databases or whatever else. It's that Snapchat was the ephemeral messaging, right? You could send your penis pics and they disappear in 24 hours or whatever. Facebook was, again, trying to get you laid. LinkedIn is trying to get you a job, right? There's the technology, and then there's the actual business and the problem that they're trying to solve. And so one of the things that might be successful for you is taking, basically, reskinning somebody else's product to try to solve a problem in a slightly different way. Again, I've never actually been thinking about this a lot. A social media site with its core conceit of note-taking. I know that sounds goofy. It might be goofy. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, as always, if you like these videos, thumb up. If you don't like them, thumb down. YouTube does not care about the quality of the interaction, just so long as there is an interaction. Leave a comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards, and I'll see you later.